It's Friday, it's the end of the week, it's time for an MCN, and it's taking, as I say, it's slowly to get myself kind of, oh, that doesn't sound very good. It's the MCN for Friday. One of the big things that will come out of today is that at 5 PM UK time, 9 AM PT, there'll be an announcement of who's won the Summoner's Choice 2024. Who do you think it's going to be? Put it in the comments section, and we'll be doing a reaction to this as well when it goes live. And if there's anything else discussed on the stream, because of course there might be some other information, I'm sure a lot of people will be kind of like, well, you know, going at Kabam, going like, the Winter of Woe. Yeah, not good, Kabam. The second thing we're going to delve into, more kind of like in important news, and the Incursion black screen bug. Now, we talked about this. When did we talk about it? Was it on Wednesday this week? I'm pretty certain we have talked about this. A couple of people reached out and I was like, I've already done a video on this. No, we didn't. Actually, I talked about it on Monday. It was mentioned on Monday. So that was, that's the thing to go, right, at the point of recording this video, which I'm recording this on Thursday night, that we still haven't had this bug kind of like dealt with. Many people pointed out there should be compensation for this. There really should, because people have lost fights with this black screen. Of course, there is a few kind of workarounds for it, but at the end of the day, it's just because it pops up that's annoying. And anybody that's lost out, look, you've lost out. It's annoying. It's really annoying to kind of have to spend units on incursion revives to then get yourself back up and running to go back in again. Of course, we knew on February 5th, which was it definitely February 5th? Yeah, February 5th, Monday. Jax, of course, took it to the game team, and since then we haven't had any kind of like, well, response to the matter. We had that Warlock bug dealt with, and that was something. But I think Kabam are having like major issues, especially because we've had this as well. You know, not only that, but screens are darker than usual. Whenever you use a relic, the screen goes blue. Yeah. It's like the Blue Man Group, isn't it? You know, we're in Las Vegas or something. It's not good. This is pretty kind of like annoying, a bit embarrassing for Kabam. They're in a bit of an embarrassing time at the moment, to be pretty honest. And especially when you kind of look down to like this thread is as active as any, and people are like, you know, is this going to be fixed? Is this fixed? I'm afraid to try it again. Kabam should shut down incursions until they fix the black screen issue. Stuck in room 20 fighting dust on a black screen. Units wasted sucks. And the thing is, and here's a sad thing, Kabam won't compensate that. So Cabo Destro, who's probably used a good chunk of units on this, maybe he's used 100, 200, whatever, Kabam aren't giving you that. They're not giving you that back. Because if it's kind of like, what's 100 units is like 2 revives. So if they're giving you like, say if it's wasted you about 10 revives, which that would total about 520 units, you're not going to get that back. You probably won't even get 10. You'll probably get 5 and a good kind of like, you know, a grip on the wrist of a good handshake and just go, well done. You did it, I guess. I cannot remember the last time we've seen some revive-based compensation, or even kind of like a compensation package that's done that out in a little while. So, I don't know. Kabam needs to sort that out, and they do need to make this right, but I don't think they will on the matter. Someone done a support ticket here. Thank you for contact there. We were made aware of possible issues with players are coming into blacked out screen in newest incursions and confirmed a bug. Any additional details about this bug will be announced in the forums or blog or in game mail, making those great resources to regularly check because this bug could affect many players. Any compensation would be given to all affected players via in-game methods like system. But the thing is that if you're going, oh, that means compensation. No, it doesn't mean anything. You know, any compensation would be given is kind of saying it in a tense of, as an example of, as being, it will be delivered to you at a stage. Like, you know, it's like me saying, oh, you know, when that particular developer did this for the player base, I'm just using it as a comparison. It's just the case. I just do not see it. They should do it, absolutely should do it, but I just don't see Kabam doing it. And especially, they've got to do it sooner rather than later, of the matter. And it's pretty regular. Faces issue immediately came into the forums. Glad it's not the only one. Just disappointing, isn't it? Winter of Woe Valiant progression issue, as this player says. So I opened the game to check the Winter of Woe rewards in the game, and they were different than those posted on the forums, as in below. And from this, I gather that also the solo objective progression gated, as I can't see rewards past the 7th. My question is, will I be able to access all of the rewards I became Valiant before the second fight, or am I locked out? Of course, very important question. I'm aware last year you didn't get the bonus objective if you changed progression titles, but the solo event had all the milestones. Just wanting to know because I do some, if I do some objectives now, I'm afraid I'll lose points if the solo event resets. There is a response to this as well. A little more detail about what happened here and what the team did. The way the solo event was created caused issues. Initially, there was a Paragon and Valiant event. This was going to likely make it so the summoners who jump up to Valiant during the event don't have access to the additional Valiant objective. So, the Paragon specific event was disabled and we granted Paragon players access to the previously Valiant Plus event. This was done to avoid players getting point resets throughout the event if they went up progression, which would have been an ongoing messy issue. Some Paragon players may notice points they previously earned have disappeared. The team will be adding those points back to the solo event after the conclusion of the first fight of the Winter of Woe. So it kind of gives you a bit of perspective on that particular situation. And of course, when we learn more about responses to the Winter of Woe, we'll talk about them and bring them to the forefront in some videos and coverage. Also, quickly, I forgot to mention, surprise, AQ Raid has been delayed 1 week. An upcoming AQ Raid has been delayed 1 week. Enlistment will now begin on February 12th, with the event starting on February 19th. As a result, the entire 4-week AQ cadence will be pushed back a week. Subsequent Raid weeks will also be 1 week later than initially scheduled. We'll be removing the next week event. We'll remove current enlistment and will replace it with regular weeks tomorrow. This result is a knock-on effect from the temporary fix to tagging issues impacting AEW and AQ selection. So that gives you a bit of an idea on that. And finally, this is probably the most important story that we're going to cover in the MCN today. And Chovnir does a very good dissection of some points that were raised by Kabam talking about energy cost in the February 6th live stream. Now, there's a great deep dive here. But it's the responses I think are very important because I'm kind of like paraphrasing stuff and things. So go and check out the thread for itself. The link is in the description. Kevin's making a point to mention that the 10 energy per tile try isn't going to limit everyone extremely is obviously wrong. In order for most players to practice this fight enough to get good, it is going to cost a lot of energy refills from the stash or units. To be honest, I kind of like didn't really think much of it, and that's like on me that for not to kind of like consider that is actually a pretty bad thing. I should have like twigged when I was watching that stream. I should have gone 10 energy. I think I just brushed it off as a thing and just thought I would just put it as coverage. But then it's like, it's only when you do it. And as I said, it's very different to kind of like putting a guide down or covering something when you've got the information and experiencing from yourself. Because when you experience stuff, things seem to be, you discover more. The same way that Kabam's mistakes when it comes to things like bugs and also the way that Alliance Raids played out. Look, it's only from players getting involved with it and trying it that you find out there's an error. Now, Kabam could have saved all that time by running a beta, so that's not the correct example there. But you know what I mean, from a point of going, look, is this all right? Is this not? I think it's very difficult when it's Kabam testing their own in particular stuff and kind of making decisions for the community without kind of going, oh, do you know what? Is this actually, good? Is this a good idea? Especially because would a Kabam member of staff test out wasting a full energy refill to get the most opportune test of it? Or just go, I've just wasted an energy refill or 2 energy refills trying to get this down or get this kind of like playing better. Is this right or is this wrong for the community? But look, that's down to Kabam to kind of like QA and run it past people beforehand. Are they using the right people to test out? I don't know. I really don't know. That's the inner workings of Kabam. But there is a response here to this, like obviously Jack's kind of like response to, basically it's a call out to be honest. I'd love to hop in here and say some additional insight. There are times where choices are made or our systems implemented when we know summoners are going to be unhappy, but those changes are deemed necessary. Take a look at removing revive farming. Although that's weird, isn't it? Now that we've got this kind of like step up in content kind of difficulty and revive farming being taken from it, it's like now becoming a bit is it going to become more out of reach, especially in situations like this? Most recently, as an example, just because we know this choice is going to be unpopular doesn't mean they aren't warranted. Sometimes there's a fundamental difference between what summoners want and what the game needs. We've discussed this concept here before. Piss off your player base, and that always goes down well. Now everybody's got more work at Kabam because people have, complained, and it's up to you to act on it. So I don't know, make more work for yourself. Look, I can't kind of like tell you how to work at Kabam. What you're seeing is the live stream isn't us trying to sell you on the energy being positive, because that would be ridiculous. We also have spoken honestly about why this energy cost needs to exist, but for extra context, there are many players who would dive into this type of content practice, lose, restart in order to work towards a solo, literally requiring no cost to their account. I don't mean cost in a financial sense, but as we said on the stream, summoners aren't meant to get high rewards for literally nothing. Don't say time, that isn't relevant anyway. Yeah, time's relevance. Well, the problem with that is the game's economical balance. If Battlegrounds didn't require energy, yes, okay, Elder Marks, but it required, you going in and doing it with using your energy, and that being required in other areas of the game to complete content and do different things. It's quite costly to the player unless you kind of like meet in the middle and pay out and stuff like 3-4 hour crystals. Aside from restating that what happened in the live stream, I'm not sure what the commentary is here. We presented information we knew wouldn't be popular from the community, but we knew was necessary from a game design perspective. If that's all, glad we're aligned. I didn't see majority by any means, but we also have to keep in mind that we have data that shows summoner behavior. We're not simply pulling anecdotal information from our limited reach of conversational community members. I'm not saying everyone should be happy with this. I'm simply providing context. We're aware of the sentiment. We're paying attention to feedback. I don't know. Energy doesn't cost you a penny. And I suppose in some ways, to kind of meet Kabam in the middle, they do have the Prime gaming thing. But as well, have we got... Well, no, I can't. I really can. I'm too much in the camp of like the energy cost is just... I just don't like it. Of the years I've played MCOC, I've just not liked it when it comes to stuff like this. If like Battlegrounds costing as it does, and trying to get content done, I'm not going to spend my units on. Kabam say units are going to be spent for revives and health potions. Well, also units are going to be spent elsewhere. I can't just then add in extra spends of units onto energy refills for doing lots of questing, lots of Battlegrounds, lots of stuff like testing in Winter of Woe. It's just not going to work as a free-to-play player to kind of spread myself so thin to be constantly farming units until I die. Anyway, there's more on this. There's times where the difference in opinions, game team intentions versus summoner reactions are pretty vast, and it's why these community spaces are important. There's always paying attention. We're always speaking internally about these types of things. Your feedback is important to us, even if some feel we aren't paying attention. I guess this is going to be the thing between... There must be someone at Kabam that is literally fighting the community's corner, but then there's someone at Kabam that just says, no, we're not, you're not, no, it's not. And this is the reason why. But it's like, when you kind of like, you're so strong on your opinion, and of course, I get it, Kabam will say there's factual evidence to back that up. But there's also factual evidence for me saying I've just burnt through a full energy refill testing. Like, are we not allowed to test now in game? Are we not allowed to go in? It's like saying if Winter Soldier was 10 energy per tile, and we were like, well, I want to test this brand new champion out against some, hard hitting content. Well, it's going to cost you a lot more in Winter Soldier. The same way of doing other bits of areas of content and practice in the game. Practice makes perfect. You're not allowed to practice because it costs you. So I guess we're not able to practice anymore. If that's the case, that ain't good. Because then it puts a mockery to the fact of going, well, why we got the CCP beta? So the CCP beta is me going in to kind of like practice on something to kind of display, here's how to do something, but you wouldn't be able to do that in a sense of kind of like the Winter of Woe, because again, it's too costing for my own personal account. I don't know. There's a lot of things to unpack with this. There's a lot of different sentiment. There's a lot of stuff I don't agree with what, you know, and how Kabam present it. And yes, they may say, well, the community is going at it from a passion perspective, whereas we're looking at it from what we deem to be a factual perspective. And when it happens, it's when an irremovable object meets an unstoppable force. You know, we are going to collide on this. But there are a lot of things I think Kabam need to concede on this, which I just don't think they're properly getting. And maybe they'd say the same thing about us, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Just not good. Right, I think we're going to end the show there. There's a lot of stuff. I'm looking at this now. I need to edit this down because it is going to like 24 minutes and I need to get this down to about a 15-minute video. But that's been the video. We'll see the results later on for the Summoner's Choice. And I'll see you in the next one. Check out some other content located on screen. Oh, got hiccups. Bye.